Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to welcome you to a new little series that I'm doing on my YouTube, which I'm really excited for because it's different from anything else I've ever done. You guys know that I had a podcast for literally 2 episodes called The Struggle Club, and I loved it and I loved the feedback. It just was too many social media platforms to deal with, especially because I didn't know what to talk about on my podcast versus my YouTube, and YouTube is what I'm most comfortable with. It's what makes me the happiest. So I kind of want to do a, not podcast series, but a story series on my YouTube channel. Of course, I'll always have my vlogs and fitness stuff and random dumb shit. But I kind of wanted to use my platform for something more important than that, because I do have so many wonderful followers. You guys are very strong and intelligent, and you also do look up to me to a certain extent, and that causes me a lot of stress because I'm the first person to say that I'm not perfect. I have a lot of flaws. I get very anxious about, I'm not a good enough person. I said this wrong this time, blah, 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 but I'm working on being a better person, and I feel like the main way to be a better person is to be empathetic and listen to other people's stories and meet new people and hear new perspectives. There's so many cool stories, and I just thought that I would make it a priority to have a series where, I'm gonna be having on my friends who have cool and different stories, sad stories, happy stories, experiences, journeys, all of that stuff. I'm really excited for it. It's gonna be podcast vibe, kind of interview a bit, more of a conversation. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, my first episode, I had to ask this girl the questions. We've never met in person. She lives a bit outside of Toronto. Yeah, hopefully we get a chance to meet in person soon, but it just made sense for it to be just for this episode. Unfortunately, we had to do kind of a long distance relationship vibe where I asked her 5 questions and she answered them beautifully. And we're gonna get to hear her story, which is really all that matters. But yeah, just to be clear, hopefully other episodes I can sit down in person with the person. Her name's Kyra. Of course, I'll put her Instagram up. This all started when I started posting about the Black Lives Matter on my stories, on my social media. She reached out and thanked me, whatever, and we started talking. And I really just loved her personality and her story and her openness. She's not judgmental. Okay, so just from the beginning, I don't want you guys to think that because I've been posting regular content on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, that I'm not taking this Black Lives Matter movement seriously. I'm doing a lot of work on my own. Of course, donating, signing petitions, but also just educating myself. I feel like that's the main thing for empathy, is just educating yourself on what people have been through and the facts and stories and heartache and all that stuff. So yeah, Kyra has taught me a lot already just through our conversation on DM, and she's very open and not judgmental, and I could ask her questions and hear her experiences, and it was just very lovely. And I was like, I would love for you to be a voice on my channel and give you like a bigger platform to share your story, because she is a Black woman who grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, Whitby, which is in GTA outside of Toronto if you're not from Ontario. And I just wanted to hear her experiences because she's so open about it. And she did actually, why I want you guys to follow her is because she actually uploaded a video on what it was like to be Black in a predominantly white neighborhood on her Instagram, like IGTV. But I wanted to, give her a bigger platform, also go more into depth and more specific questions that I was curious about, because I assume a lot of my following is white, and I think it's very important that we educate ourselves on this. But yeah, I just really wanted to start a more like educational, serious series, which of course will have some light to it, but this topic is very not light. It's crucial that white people are educated in this and realize how important and horrific things have been. You guys know I'm a pretty sensitive person. I can't watch a chicken dying, let alone a human. So yeah, it's been very emotional, but I think that's a good thing because it shows that you care and it shows that you can do better. I think as white people, I don't know about you guys, hopefully you've kind of gone back and all, the comments that you've said, you've regretted so many things, or was I insensitive? Was I being racist? Should I have stood up for, you know, whether or not you have been racist yourself, even just standing up against people who, you know, you've heard offside comments, or you haven't done more, or you haven't done your part in voting for the right person. I know I'm 21 and I know I'm young, and the past generations have done a shit job, and it's up to us to do it. I still feel like 21, I should have known better. So of course I feel so sorry. And I think we should all do our parts, because, you know, we're all fellow human beings. We're in this together. We stand up for each other. You need to be there for other people. Recognize your privilege. I've really learned so much. I never would have thought that having blonde hair and blue eyes and white skin gave me as much privilege as it does. So I think that's really important, and we really need to use our privilege to help those who are not as privileged. I, of course, I'm going to leave a bunch of links and resources for you guys in my description of this video. I really encourage you to click on them. Please, 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 please educate yourself. I'm going to give you recommendations of people to follow and books to read and petitions to sign and places to donate to. It's non-negotiable. It should not be negotiable. It should be natural for us humans to feel really severe anger when other humans are being mistreated and killed. It's horrific, and I don't want you guys to think that I've forgotten about it or anything. It's an ongoing thing, and more importantly, it's ongoing offline. So my online presence, of course, is one side of me, but who I am as a person is offline, and that's what's important, is being a better person offline. Of course, using my platform is important, but you know what I mean, like actually making the change offline. Anyways, I've been babbling. I'm going to give the floor to Kyra. I'm really grateful for her. I've told her thank you a million times. I hope you guys really appreciate what she's done, because it's not easy to, you know, talk about the tough experiences you've had in your life. So always, of course, keep your comments very respectful, and any racist, sexist, disrespectful, rude comments will be deleted. Like, no one has time for that at all. Just like, don't be a dick, you know?
Hey Annika, I just wanted to say thank you so much for allowing me to come on to your channel and share some of my experiences and to share my story. It's really cool that we were able to get in touch and go back and forth, so I just want to say thank you.
She's been so sweet. The first question I asked her was, what was your first memory of encountering racism? I know that can be like a hard question because you can't think back to when you were a baby, but I was honestly just curious if like there was a moment that stood out to her.
So for me personally, I don't necessarily remember the earliest time that it happened. I just remember that I would get asked a lot of different questions, and like one of the questions, for example, was which parent is white, which parent is black. And to me, it's just not a question that needs to be asked. It doesn't matter which parent's white, which parent's black. And honestly, for me, like, I'm fully black. Both my parents are black. I'm just very fair skinned. My mom's side of the family's from Jamaica. My dad's side of the family's from Barbados. Even if I wasn't fully black, it's just not a question that should be asked, or just shouldn't be asked in that way. If you're asking what's your background, totally fine. But saying which parent's white, which parent's black, just not something that needs to be said. Just maybe try and ask what someone's background is instead of assuming that they're not fully black because of how fair their skin is.
It's little things like that which she taught me so much that I haven't even thought of. I didn't even think would be offensive, and they are. So I'm so glad that I learned this from her, because I feel like a lot of us have done that or something similar. So just cautious and conscious of people's feelings. So my second question to her was, how do you feel right now with the protests going on? Which I know is vague, but I just honestly wanted her raw thoughts on it all.
Personally, I am loving the protests. I think it's such a great movement, and it's sad that it has to continue happening, but at the same time, I think it's something so powerful. I was actually at a protest, I believe, a week ago, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever been a part of. It was so well organized, and it was amazing to be a part of it. I can't even put into words how awesome it was, and I love how peaceful it was. So, for example, what would happen is if there was anyone there that disagreed with the protest, was saying racial things, like anything that goes against what we were trying to do, they had volunteers spread out all around the park, and they had whistles, or they had a megaphone, and they would click the button that like makes the siren go off. Everyone would turn, look at the person, and just kneel and hold their posters up. So I thought it was super powerful, and the volunteers would try and talk to the person and reason with them and explain why what we're doing and what they're doing, they don't correlate, and how it's not okay, and like if they're going to do that, they need to take it elsewhere. It was a protest that was a non-police protest, meaning no police officers were invited, no police officers were wanted there. Of course, they still were there, so we were told to kind of just ignore them. And what they wanted to do was keep this protest very peaceful so that we can hold ourselves accountable for our actions, so that we're not doing, like, 2 rights don't make a wrong. No, 2 wrongs don't make a right. We just took a knee, and I thought that was more powerful than anything. It was, like, to be a part of it, it was just, I can't even put into words how amazing it was. Seeing the amount of diversity that was there, the amount of people that were there, like white people, black people, whoever it was, just everyone coming together for the lives of not just black people, but also Indigenous people. Like, there's just so much wrong that's happened in Canada that isn't talked about, and it needs to be talked about. And I think that the protests, especially that are going on in Canada, they're peaceful. I believe that they're peaceful. The ones that I've been a part of, they've been very peaceful, and I love that. The ones over in the States, now, here's my thing. I totally understand why it's getting out of hand and why they're setting fires. It's years and years and years of just anger and frustration and just so many emotions. And when something like that happens, we reach out and we try to be peaceful, but then it gets elevated because of the way that the police are responding to us and like other people are responding to us. So then our frustration takes over, and that's when things start lighting on fire. The whole looting, I personally believe that was not started by the people protesting. I believe that was started by people who were trying to make it into something negative. I don't agree with the burning of like innocent, like little small stores, innocent people that maybe are even marching with you and you don't even know it, and we're burning. I don't agree with that. At the same time, I get it. I get why things are being burnt, and it's just years of frustration. It's years of sadness. It's years of people, innocent people dying. So it's kind of hand in hand. Like, I get it.
So my third question was, what do you want people a part of the Black Lives Matter movement to stop doing on social media right now?
This is a really good question. So, personally, I am so hurt. I'm pissed off. I'm frustrated. I'm like every emotion. The people that are posting but actually don't care, don't give a fuck, I'm sorry, pardon my language, they don't care, and they're just posting just to make it look like, just to keep it safe. If you don't care, don't post. It's been a few weeks now, and I'm seeing less and less and less and less people posting about it. I'm seeing less and less people talk about it, and that's the problem. The whole Black History Month, I personally believe that it's not, like, it started off as the right thing, and I get why it started off, but now it's like, it's something that needs to be more than just 1 month. We don't just deserve 1 month of the year. We deserve 12 months of the year, right? We deserve to be talked about 12 months of the year. The history that's happened for Indigenous people deserves to be talked about 12 months of the year, not just 1 month of the year. It's something that needs to be brought into the school system. In history class in grade 10, I'm learning about Crosby scoring the golden goal, but I'm not learning about the history of how Canada treated Indigenous people, how Canada treated Black people, but I'm learning about a goal that someone scored. I'm Canadian, that was something amazing to me. I felt it, whatever, but the fact that I'm learning about that in history class, but I'm not learning about the things that have happened to my ancestors, not cool. So we need to start sending emails to our deans. We need to start sending emails to DDSB, which is Durham District School Board. Whichever school board you're in, you need to start emailing your trustees and telling them, listen, this needs to be put in our school system. You're not posting about it on social media, but what are you doing behind the scenes? So that's when you start emailing these people. It's just insane to me that I'm seeing all these people posting, oh, I'm at the cottage, I'm here, I'm there. I know you're at the cottage, you're with the boys, you're with the girls. I know you're not having the conversations. I know you're not talking about how I might feel about this situation that's going on. So it's just, you need to not just post, you need to have the conversations at home with your parents, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your friends, whoever it is, you need to have the conversation. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but the more you have it, the easier it gets. And it's something that needs to happen. It can't just maybe happen once in a blue. It needs to happen all the time.
We need to keep up the conversation, and it can't be forgotten. And also, really importantly, it needs to be brought into our lives. So talking to your parents and your friends and calling people out and being a constant active supporter of this, and what you do offline and who you are as a person offline is so important. So my fourth question was, what are some less talked about forms of racism that non-Black people should be more aware of? Because that's something I personally wanted to know. I wanted to make sure I was being the best I can be.
This is a really good question. So, just like little comments, like I mentioned before, which parent's white, which parent's Black, you think that it's an okay question to ask, but it's honestly not. My mom and I are actually having a conversation, and we were saying it's sad, but as a person of color, you have to analyze everything that someone is saying to you, everything that they're saying. You analyze everything that they're saying, and it sucks, and like we don't mean to, but we're picking apart what people are saying, and there's always little jabs that you may not even be intentionally doing, but things that you're saying that are racist. They are. It's things that you wouldn't say to a white person, so why are you saying it to a Black person, right? Or why are you saying it to an Indigenous person? Why are you saying it to an Asian person? Anyone of color, why are you saying it to them if you wouldn't say it to a white person? Yeah, I do have different hair than you, but that doesn't change my personality. That doesn't change the person I am. Another thing, I know a lot of Black girls will agree with me on this one. We have different hair than you. Our hair is very, very curly. Right now my hair is not curly, but our hair is very curly. I personally, and I know a lot of my friends do too, hate it when people just come up and try and touch my hair. It's just, I don't like it. Even if you ask, it's just something that's really uncomfortable because it makes us feel different. And we already know we're different. We're reminded of it every day. So when you're asking, can I touch your hair? Like, that is so cool. Like, it's so curly. Like, it's just don't do it. I don't agree with it. My dog's coming.
How did growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood affect how you feel about yourself and how you view yourself, and what were the main hardships that you endured?
This is a really touchy subject. I shared a video on my Instagram kind of talking about this. It's something that has taken me 20 years to talk about. I'm 20, so it's taken me 20 years to talk about. It's something that, like, I honestly, like, pushed to the back of my mind. I didn't even think about. I didn't even realize. Like, it's just not something I talked about just because of the friends I had, the neighborhood I grew up in. All of elementary school, I believe that I was one of the only Black girls in my grade. And my grade was very close. And I'm almost certain I was one of the only Black girls. So that was pretty tough because I have different hair, I have different skin colors. It doesn't go unnoticed by kids, right? Like, even if we're innocent, we don't really understand, it doesn't go unnoticed. So that was pretty hard for me because I just wanted to be pretty like all the other girls. Someone DM'd me actually the other day and shared a story with me about how when they were kids, they would play Would You Rather, and one of the questions was, would you rather kiss this girl or kiss this girl? And she was one of the girls, and it just reminded me of my childhood, and it's like, would you rather kiss this girl or this girl? And I always knew that it wasn't going to be me because I wasn't as pretty as the other girls, or I believed I wasn't as pretty as the other girls. I didn't think that the boys liked me as much because I had different hair, I had different skin color, so boys didn't like me, or so I thought. And that's what I was kind of made out to believe because a lot of my friends were boys, whatever. Like, a lot of my friends were also girls, but no one ever thought I was pretty. No one would ever tell me I was pretty. It was always the other girls that were pretty. The blonde hair, blue eyes, straight hair, tiny, skinny girls. For me, I was always so self-conscious about my body because I have very big thighs, and I think that is definitely a trait of being Black. I have very big thighs, and I am so insecure. Even to this day, I'm so insecure about them. I'm insecure about just everything about my body because I'm not that skinny, tiny girl. Being Black, I personally believe that it's in our DNA that we're a bit bigger, and being around all these tiny, pretty, straight-haired little girls, I just wanted to be like that. So that was something that was hard for me. I was good at sports, so like I thought that would kind of help, but then gaining muscle obviously made my thighs bigger, which made me more insecure. Sometimes I felt like I didn't even fit in the Black community because I was not Black enough, or I was too whitewashed. So that's another thing. Just little things like that were really tough. And I think I went way too long with this video, so I'm really sorry. So I'm going to wrap it up. And thank you so much for allowing me to share just a little bit of my personal beliefs and my personal stories. I really appreciate it. I'm honestly open to anyone's questions. If they ever have questions and they want to ask me, reach out to me and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share my story. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry, I'm going to stop now, so yes, thank you.
When I first listened to that, I teared up because I can't, we just all need to do better, and I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the main things to change that is representation in media. And you know how Barbies are always blonde hair, blue eyes, models, they pick blonde hair, blue eyes, shit, same body type always. As women, we all have our insecurities, but if you're white, you've never been discriminated against because of the color of your skin, regardless of what insecurities you have, and we need to really just be aware of that. No woman or person should feel unlovable or unattractive because of the color of their skin or their background. That's just awful. I cannot thank you, Kyra, enough. I know I've told you this a million times in our conversations, but just face to face, thank you. I really hope to meet her one day after this whole pandemic is over. I have learned so much from her. I hope you guys have learned a lot as well and really taken into account what she said and taken it to heart, because these are the people we need to listen to, the ones who go through this every day. And at the same time, it's on us to do the work to be better, not on Kyra. I can't wait to do more videos like this. Hopefully face-to-face, more conversation, interview of course, but you know, I'm working with what I got for the pandemic. Please, please, please click the resources and read my description. The hardest conversations are the best ones to have, so do it. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. If you made it the whole way through, I really hope you're excited for more stories and more sit down videos with guests and stuff like that. I will see you in my next video. Black lives fucking matter. Okay, love you.